One of the key tips to increase your chances to get a BTO or SBF unit is to apply for towns where there is less competition. Hence, I'm starting a new series where I will be discussing the BTO and SBF application rate as of that particular day. Although the exact numbers will keep moving until the sales period is closed, but knowing the current application rate will give you a sense of where the trend is going. And hopefully, this can help you to make a more informed decision with your application. And with that, let's discuss the application rate on day 3 of the July BTO and SBF application. Okay, so let's start with the BTO application rate first. So this is the 2-room flexi application rate as of today. And if we look at the numbers for seniors, it is as per expected. Alexandra Vista get sufficient attention here. As we can see, the application rate for seniors is already 1.1. Bukit Panjang, I'm a bit surprised. Quite a lot applying for Bukit Panjang here. Now, Clementi Emerald, I'm actually surprised that it is more popular versus Alexandra Vista. I'm guessing it's probably because Clementi Emerald does have more amenities, and then it will be next to an upcoming polyclinic, so maybe that comes into play. And I think there are more malls and hawker centers, so yeah, it's more popular among seniors. For Sembawang, what do you expect? This is as per expected. The number of applicants will be on the lower side for Sembawang. Now, Tampines. Okay, this one is a bit unexpected from my end. I wasn't expecting so many seniors to be applying to this particular project given the price is on the higher side. But yeah, interesting. If you compare between Sime Symphony versus Alexandra Vista, this is very interesting. Because especially you will not be able to rent out 2-room flexi anyway, right? Even after MOP. So I'm not sure why more seniors wants to live in Tampines. Well, on the second thought, probably the explanation would be if you are already nearing retirement, then you don't have to go to CBD area as much for work. I don't know. Let me know, guys, what do you think? Why is Sime Symphony for seniors is getting more attention versus like Bukit Merah area or Clementi area? Let me know in the comment section down below. Okay, let's move on to the first-timer families. Again, this is application rate for 2-room flexi BTO flats, right? So as we can expect, there's not that many first-timer families who will apply for 2-room flexi because young couples, especially if they are planning to have kids, or even if they have pets, typically couples would just, at least they would book a 3-room or 4-room or even 5-room, right? So it's quite rare for first-timer families to buy a 2-room flexi, so no wonder the rate is on the lower end. What is interesting is actually this Bukit Panjang. So the application rate is 2.5. But I think the number is high here, not necessarily because many people are interested in this particular development, but more because of the split between seniors and non-seniors for 2-room flexi. So according to HDB rule, which I have discussed in a separate video, 40% of 2-room flexi will be allocated for senior or minimum of 40 units per project. So for example, you see here 120 2-room flexi, right? So 100 will be allocated to seniors. So meaning only 20 will be allocated for first-timer families, first-timer singles, and second-timer families. So I think that explains the high application rate. So moving on to first-timer singles. Okay, first-timer singles, because of the limited supply, typically the numbers for singles is going to be very high. It's very competitive. Again, very similar trend. So Bukit Merah and Clementi get quite a lot of attention. Again, this Bukit Panjang number is high, not necessarily because of high interest, but because of the very limited supply. Tampines again gets more interest from first-timer singles. Maybe I'm missing something. I know that Tampinas nowadays is considered a mature town, but in my mind, like, it's actually quite far from the CBD area. Maybe because I'm looking it from the angle that if you are working in the central area, then you would want to live closer to the central area. So I find this a very interesting trend where there's a lot of people who wants to apply for Tampines CMA Symphony, especially for first-timer singles. Although another possibility would be limited supply again, because as you can see, the unit number is only 140, right, for two-room flexi. Again, 100 will be allocated to seniors, meaning only 65% of 40 units will be allocated for singles. That probably explain why the number is high. Second-timer families, I think, is still on the lower side, but probably the number will keep moving. So this is still a two-room flexi. We have Toa Payoh Ascent here. As you can see, seniors are also quite excited with this project. The application rate so far is already 2.6. It is definitely much higher than Woodlands simply because of the location, and also as we can see here, the supply for Woodlands is also much higher. And then for first-timer families, as we discussed, it's quite rare for first-timer families to apply for two-room flexi, so the low application rate is kind of expected. First-timer singles, okay, a lot of people are interested to apply for Toa Payoh Ascent, which I can understand. Yeah, so if we see the overall median for two-room flexi at the moment, as of today, for seniors, the application rate is 1.2. For first-timer families is 0.2. For first-timer singles is 5.2. And second-timer families is 0.4. Okay, now let's move on to three-room and bigger flats. So for first-timer families, if we see in a glance, it's quite interesting that Bukit Merah is still less than 1. Even like 3-room, the application rate is relatively very low. But then this is still day 3, guys. Of course, the numbers will keep changing until the sales period itself is closed. But I find it interesting that so far, there's not many people applying for 3-room in such a prime district such as Bukit Merah. So this is interesting. So we need to monitor this further. If let's say until day 7, the application rate is still low for 3-room first-timer families, if you are interested, that probably would be a good entry point. But I think for now, this is interesting. So even for a 4-room, I'm actually surprised that the application rate hasn't surpassed 1 yet for first-timer families 4-room, because from my review, please check my other videos regarding this. Actually, both Alexandra Vista and Alexandra Peaks have a lot of strong points. So yeah, maybe people are just waiting to select whether they want Bukit Merah, Clementi, or Toa Payoh. Maybe they are still wait and see. And then for Bukit Panjang, as expected, 3-room only 0.6. Okay. But 4-room is already 1.1. Okay. I find it interesting that more people are applying to Bukit Panjang as of today versus to Bukit Merah. But again, this is still very early. Okay, 5-room. 5-room is still 0.8. So there are less applicants for 5-room versus 4-room. Okay, so that's interesting because typically if 5-room is available, couples or families would just try to buy the biggest flat available, right? So this is interesting. Next, we have Clementi Emerald. For first-timer families, 3-room application rate is still 0.5. Yeah, I mean, come to think of it, first-timer families probably hesitate to apply for 3-room if the project is classified as prime, because they will be stuck there for at least 10 years, right? So 3-room, if let's say you have multiple kids or you have your parents living with you and maybe you have helper, etc., it is a bit tight if we think about family stage. Yeah, that probably explains why first-timer families typically is not very keen to apply for 3-room. Okay, so 4 room, 1.4, which is as per expected. Sembawang Beacon, okay, 3 room is more popular than 4 room, so that's interesting. If you are interested for the 5 room or 3 gen in Sembawang Beacon and you are first timer families, you see guys, the number is still very low. So continue to monitor this number. If let's say by day 7, the number is still low, then probably you have a good chance to get a unit here. For second timer families, it seems like second timer families tend to apply for bigger flats. If you notice, like 4 room, 5 room, 4 room, like it seems like the biggest flat on each project or town gets the most attention. So that's interesting. Oh, except for Sembawang. For second timer families, there are more second timer families applying for 3 room versus even 5 room or 3 gen. So that's interesting. So this is still 3 room and bigger sizes, but for Tampines, Toa Payoh, and Woodlands, as we can see here, Tampines Sime Symphony is really a surprise for me because I wasn't expecting so many people to actually apply to this project. I know that it is very close to MRT station, and then there will be a supermarket, an eating house, if I'm not mistaken, there also. So yeah, but then the price is kind of high, guys. Like, why do people still apply to it? It's puzzling for me. My theory why Sime Symphony is so popular, probably because it's in a mature town near MRT station, but it's being categorized as standard BTO, meaning it only has 5-year MOP, and then you can rent out the whole flat after MOP. There's no income ceiling for future resale buyers, etc. So probably that explains why so many people flock to Sime Symphony, even though the entry price is on the higher side. Okay, next we have Toa Payoh Ascent, which is also categorized as prime, which is subjected to 10 years MOP. We can see that the 4 room here is very popular. I am guessing that probably the fact that this project is within 2-kilometer radius from like popular schools, that probably help to explain why a lot of first-timer families apply to Toa Payoh Ascent, even compared to like Bukit Merah area. Probably that's one of the explanation. And then for Woodlands, yeah, as per expected. I think Woodlands is interesting because the project is near MRT station, but then it's very far from the central area, right? And then what puzzles me is that we just had Woodlands North plot released back in February, and now in July they release the plot next to it. So that puzzles me a bit, and that also probably explain why the application rate is on the moderate side. It's not so high because it was just launched. Like if you are interested for Woodlands North, you probably already apply since the last application period. Now for second timer families, again, very high demand for Sime Symphony. Toa Payoh Ascent, interestingly, second timer families is heavily looking at 3 room instead of 4 room, so that's interesting. And then the rest are just as per expectation. The overall median for first timer families right now is at 0.9. The numbers will continue to change, guys. Again, this is only day 3. Second timer families, the application rate is 5.5. Yeah, so before we move forward to discussing the SBF application rate, if you notice that the numbers that I'm showing here might be different versus if you check online, this is the reason, yeah, guys, because HDB actually updated their website 3 times per day during the application period. So yeah, just take note of this. Next, let's discuss about the application rate for sales of balance flats exercise. For community care apartments, there are not many units. Yeah, but if you are above 65 years old, community care apartment is basically 2-room flexi with more support. So if you are eligible for that, this is something worth considering. Next, let's discuss the 2-room flexi SBF flats. So for Ang Mo Kio, there are 30 units available, but then the number of applicants is already over 100. For first-timer families, it's only 0.1 because again, families typically would prefer a bigger flat. Seniors 4.1. For bedok, okay, we see similar trend as well. Okay, still for two-room flexi, now we are discussing the application rate for SBF in Bukit Batok, Bukit Merah, etc. If I see it in a glance, Geylang has quite a lot of supply, right? 82. Seniors already applying for at 1.7, so that's good. Now first timer singles, oh gosh, I feel bad because it's already 65 and this is only day 3. Can't imagine. It's probably going to be triple digit towards the end of the application period. Yeah, it's kind of tough. Let's see Hougang, Jurong East. Okay, so next we have Tengah, where they have quite a lot of balanced flats available there. So this one is the number for seniors. This one is first-timer families. And then for first-timer singles, as we can see, it's already 31.2, which is quite high. So just take note of this. Yeah, let's move on to the bigger flats. So Ang Mo Kio numbers are per expected. What is interesting is Bedok because currently they have 214 available flats of 4-room flats, and first-timer families, the application rate is still 0.4. So this is something to monitor if you are interested in Bedok 4-room. This could be a good entry point. Yeah, so even 3-room, 4-room, and 5-room all still under 1. Okay, for Bishan, Bishan is indeed a mature town, but then the risk is typically Bishan has a lot of percentage of repurchase older flats. So if you are interested in mature town, do check their SBF first. How many new units versus older flats that they have, you need to check the proportion first. I'm trying to pick, guys, like what can I call out for you? Another place where it has quite a lot of supply would be Choa Chu Kang. Choa Chu Kang also for first-timer families, the application rate is still quite low. So if you are interested in Choa Chu Kang area, you can consider this. Clementi and Geylang also still on the lower end. But I do want to highlight one thing, which is Kalang Whampoa. Okay, so if you see it here, Kalang Whampoa, 3-room and 4-room, actually they have quite a lot of available units, right? This is quite a lot. And based on my check, because there are several BTO that are currently under construction, but they were not fully sold, so not all units are taken as of now. So this is actually a good entry point if you want a new unit in a mature town. Because you see, the first-timer families, the application rate is still 0.2. So if this holds until day 7, just buy this. Just buy. That would be my suggestion, because even though it is indeed far from MRT station, but then the projects is at least located in Kalang Whampoa. It's still near the central area, so that is worth considering. I think the rest is still pretty standard as per expected. Maybe another location that has quite a lot of supply would be Tengah. So Tengah has quite a lot of 3-room, 4-room, and even 5-room and 3-gen. So if you are just looking for a roof over your head and you don't mind living in an area that is still growing, maybe Tengah can be an option, because first-timer families here, the application rate, as you can see, is still under 1. Yeah, Woodlands, I think, is worth calling out as well, because now, but Woodlands is a mixed bag, because I already reviewed the SBF in Woodlands. So some of the projects are quite far from any MRT station, but there is a couple of them that's actually quite near. So yeah, it is indeed a mixed bag. So it depends on your luck, because it depends on your queue number, right? We cannot pick which project we want to apply for. In SBF, we can only pick the town and the flat type, so that's the risk. But they do have a good amount of balanced flat numbers here. and the application rate is still relatively healthy. Yeah. So overall for SBF, first-timer families application rate is still standing at 0.7 as of this day 3. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you on my next video. Bye bye.